Here we have the Asus Republic of Gamers, ROG for short, Maxima 7 Hero motherboard. This is just a brief intro to the board. I'll cover more of this as we go over the board. So here it is, nice plastic. You know, the case is nice or whatever, nice. The boxing. Not that I care about the boxing, but for storage wise, when you're done with it, then we're gonna open this up. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'll go all over that with the board. So this is what it looks like. Now, what did I pay for this? I think this was like $250 or something like that, and then the Maxima 6 Hero dropped down to $200 because of this new board hitting the market. Let's take this plastic off so it doesn't have any glare. What comes in the box? Well, this is really ain't unboxing, but I'll go over it. There's more than enough reviews out there to cover you of what's going on, but I'll just take it out the box. There it is, completely out. I like how it is. I don't even know if this is dead on arrival. It could be, probably ain't, but I really hope it ain't. So there's really a lack of space here. So what comes in the box? We have our I/O shield, our back plate. You see the ROG symbol onto it. 2468. We're gonna have 8 SATA tray 6 gigabit per second ports, and we have our Q quick connector. This is really useful. But yeah, you just hook this up prior before putting it on the board, because it's difficult when you got the board inside of your chassis. And we have our stickers for your SATA cables. SATA tree. I hate when people review it and call it SATA 6 gigabit per second. No, it's called SATA tree, okay? SATA 2, 300, and then SATA 1, 1.5, okay? SATA tree. Okay, SATA tree. Is it too hard to hit tree on the keyboard? It's called SATA tree. They said to do that for stupid people not knowing what was what. That's why. And we have do not disturb. They'll be hung on the door because that's awesome. And we have our SLI bridge that connects the 2 graphics cards for SLI, and you see SLI here. Crossfire now, if you're using a previous generations, that would be the 7000 series, not the R9, you know, 280, 290, whatever it may be. They communicate through the PCI Express, so there's no more bridge that's needed to connect it for those cards. Now, if you're using a 7000 series, that could be the 7850, 7870, I think it is, or 7950, and so forth, and whatever, voice and for. I don't care about the bottom of the buckets. It's always mid-range or high and mid-range for me. It communicates through the PCI. So if you're wondering why there's no bridge for Crossfire, that is why. For SLI, yes. And with the SLI, you can only use 2 cards in 8 times mode. This PCI Express Gen 3.0 is at 16 times. So that's 16 gigabits of data traveling from here to the processor. So that's what comes in the box. Your Q connector, yeah, and then your I/O shield. People calls, yeah, I'm looking on the back. You got your disc, you got a little badge to put on. I don't put stickers on my computer case. And this is the back. You see the Stream Engine Digi Plus tree. You got your MOSFETs, your 10K black middle capacitors, more than likely Nichikanje 10K black middle capacitors. Then we have your keybot, whatever. I'll talk about that more game first. That's all extra software for optimizing your games and that. Supreme FX, I'll get more to that in a second. Now that I got it all geared up, this is the graphics card that I bought. It will be 2 years now. Well, if you want to call it, well, this is the Capilar GK104 architecture in this. But it was kind of a TikTok feature because of the TSMC manufacturing couldn't get out the yields of a 22, I think it was. So we're stuck on 28. So this is a 28 nanomil Kepler GK104 graphics card GTX 670. I was going to get the GTX 680, but I had to wait around 2 months. 2 months I had to wait, and it still was nothing in stock. They were all bought out at the time, so I had to go with the GTX 670, and it's one SMX unit less because yeah, and each SMX unit contains 192 CUDA cores. So I had to go with the GTX 670, and the newer cards out in the market now, we have the 770, which is essentially the 680 and the 780. Then we ended up with a, I think it was the Titan. Yeah, the Titan. Then it was the 780 Ti, which was a fully unlocked GK110 architecture. Then we ended up with the Titan Z, no, Titan Black. And then the Titan C just launched like a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, which contains 2 Titan Blacks on one graphics card. So am I upgrading? No, there's no point. I usually upgrade every 2 years, and a system upgrade kit, processor, motherboard, and RAM will be every 30 months from the day I turn this on, and this will be turned on right now. And it'll be 30 months when I rip this board out and replace it with a new one. There's no more of me waiting as long as I did. It was almost like, oh, I was needed last year, but something come up, then I had to postpone it till this year, and I'm glad I did because of the new Z87 chipset, Z97 chipset, sorry. I'm glad that it happened, and there probably won't be no more Zs. We'll have to start over now because we're at the end, and we have the X99 for the high end. I would have went with the X99 if it wasn't for double data rate 4, double DDR4. Which is 2133, I think 1.2 volts, and it's no more difference. You can almost get the same speed out of overclocked DDR3, just with a higher voltage. But it wasn't for DDR4, I would end up building it with the X99 and the high end 5, maybe 930. Next upgrade, it won't be no mid range. It will be high end extreme, and it will be the 5390K. Or the 5820. That's what my intentions was to go with, but like I said, DDR4 would have cost an arm and a leg, and I wasn't going to dump that much money in something I was going to look to upgrade in 30 months. And at least with the high-end extreme, you'd definitely be able to get a period, as I stretched it out, to almost 4 years. So like I said, get ready between 30 and 40 months. So that's between like the 3 and 4 year mark of, you know, deciding should I go with this or should I hold off on that, right? It's up to you, but that's my plan from here on out. So that's out the way of what my intentions was, and I ended up with this. So I just flicked the switch on in the back. Apparently we have power to the board. Just look at the nice red glowing through the Supreme FX. Separate PCB and different layers and all. Just read the book. If you read your manual and a good review on the board, I mean not just this cheap ass couple of paragraphs and some charts and whatever, I mean really dig at it. You start with the chipset first. When you start with the chipset, and you'll know everything else. It just falls into place. Oh, it's so pretty. It's my rug board. No, I give up this flashy stuff. I don't, whatever, it's bonus material, but you won't see me buying you know, LED fans and all this and that there. That's over with. That's why I bought the Cosmo case. It'll be the last case for a good decade. I'm dead serious on that, a good decade. Fancy light stuff, but it's cool little bonus feature, I guess. Looks cool. Yeah, so let's see how it turns out right now. And again, like I say, don't be leaning over the board. Like this could just blow up right now, all of you know. It's alive! We got something on the screen. Device detected, serial, yeah, Samsung's 840 Evo. And when you have an SSD, you got to go into BIOS and make sure you have the advanced host controller interface enabled for the native command queuing. If you had to set the IDE, the driver's going to be gone to shit. Trust me. This is my first time experiencing a UEFI BIOS. And look at the processor. My first time getting to see this ever, and I'm capturing it right now at 4790K. Yeah, 4 gigahertz. That's crazy. BIOS version needs to be updated, so You can even use the mouse in this, which is kind of cool. Look at that. Wow, right? Wow. That is tremendously different. Holy crap. I've seen screenshots of this, but I didn't think it was going to be like this. Oh, this is really freaky to use a mouse inside of UFI BIOS. Oh my god. Wow. Wow, man, that's crazy. CPU temperature is 27. Motherboard temperature. Voltage regulator module sensor. Temperature, yeah, okay, that's good. There's no sensor. That sensor was on the board I told you about. So you want to tell you, if you study your board and your chipset, you'll know what it is inside of the BIOS right off the bat. And then boot. We have all that. But that's it. I'm not going to your overclocking profile, serial presence detection information. Yeah, this is really sweet. Joint Electronic Device Engineering Council. Extreme memory profiles, like I told you earlier. 1866, 1.5 volts, 898, 22 to 29. Wow, it was lying. Oh wow, they didn't even put the right specifications on the website. It was showing 910.9. They're showing 898. Wow, that's pretty cool. Storage configuration. Oh, there we go. SATA mode. There we go. The SATA mode selection is on advanced host controller interface. All of this is straightforward right across. So when you get to Extreme Tweaker, this is where you're going to run into some complex stuff you want to be overclocking. But I want to try it out later on, but after the same. You're going to have to increase the CPU core voltage up to probably 1.2 or 1.3 alone just to hit the 4.8 gigahertz mark. You're going to have to turn on, also bump up the voltage on the platform controller, I think VLX voltage or the controller. I don't know. You have to read it and read carefully too and see what other people selected to get where you were. But this is it. It's over, and hope you enjoyed my first expressions with my ROG Z97 board. And this is it, and I'll show a take when I got everything inside the case and she's running good. Now it's to fool around inside of the UFI BIOS and enjoy the rest of my night. So that's it. Cooler Master Cosmo 2 case. Yeah, let's kind of. This comes down. This is the second version I had from Newegg. I had a crack right here. I have images of it on my blog and that. It's an album that goes to Google. That's where I upload it, and there was a crack of it there. So they replaced that, and I'll get to the other things later on. Just wants to show the case. Let's take all this off, and you can see how it says to push up, not open, right? So yeah, I won't be using this up for to see front 200mm fan, I believe it is, and just slides it down. I have this 5.25 inch of bay drives. You can turn off the light. LED light is right there. It allows you to turn it off, and you have 6 USB, 2 USB 3.0. It has the front. It has the mounting port. Before we had the wire that just run in the back to plug it in because we didn't have a standard on the header on the board before. And eSATA, whoever uses that, I don't. And 4 USB 2.0s. Flick the latch and she opens up. So she slides over and this door pops right off the hinges. There ain't much light in here at all. But this is the case. The compartment's down here. More hard drive base. I like how it's separate from up here. Yeah, separating the heat and that. But the problem, find these are locking in right. This camera is so much crap, guys. I'm sorry if anybody's ever watching this. Say, it works and it kind of don't work, I guess. I don't know. I really don't care. So we have a 120mm fan here, 212mm fans down here. We have a 200mm fan, and also a mounting up on top for a 240 and I think a 280 radiator, so I should have no problem installing that. If I have any problem installing that, I'm going to be tremendously upset at this point. A huge back plate cutout for your processor installing it, so that's great. Lots of I/O slots, many names again. Yeah, I'm not showing you that, but that's it for that. That's the case it's going in, so that's pretty cool. And the rear, you can't see that yet, and here's the rear. I had to take a break, so this is a new beginning today, and I'm glad I did. That's my tigers. He's my tiger. Anyhow, I need to put up my cat a little bit. Oh, my tigers. So, I run into problems last night. Previous takes with this case, I don't even know if I'm included, or I might just keep it separate out of this build and just put it as a separate rant on the case itself. And like I said previously, this case ain't worth what I paid for it. So my conclusion onto it is that you're paying more for weight and copper and fans that you'll probably end up replacing anyway, because not all that in a bag of chips. So I had problems with the clearance up here. Don't put the cooler on, okay? Leave the cooler for last. Don't put it on. I took it off, put it on twice, and I gotta take it off again. Why do I have to take it off again? Look at the clearance for the EPS/12 volt 8-pin connector. So in other words, is that the wires is going to be like, you only have this much space, so you're gonna have to bend the wires. Thank God there's something included, extension, so I don't have to put pressure on my main power supply connector. Well, the EPS/12 volt connector. I got most of it wired out there now. I run into another problem. Thank God Cooler Master had some common sense and decency to include the EPS/ATX 12 volt extension. Oh, and also when I wanted to show you this, you see how the clip is? So when I puts it in up through the cutout in the back, I have to flip it around like that to try to get in. That's not happening, okay? Again, so if Corsair was more worried about their cables than extra accessories for bags and packaging and so forth, it might would have got it okay. What happened here, I had to cut this plastic piece off and leave the screw out, because ASUS's board, crap, okay? You don't put this on the edge of the board, because look at the problems you created, all because what, we're routing cables out in the back of the cable, back of the case, you had to put it that close to the top of the board. And also this so-called pump shit that's here, this crap, okay? This right now, if it wasn't from the girlfriend, this would be in the garbage can, right? All of it, right in the garbage can. I could care less about this. This is useless crap, okay? The pump, if you're going to be having wiring, the pump should be around the tube, coming up away from the block itself. But no, and also the tubing should be mounted on top of the block, not on the side, conflicting with your DIMMs or your VRMs or whatever. No, because I guess Corsair wanted to have something flashy in the change with their buggy ass software they got available for their products. Yeah, and when I do take this out again, when it gets dirty to clean, it's just out in the garbage can, and I'm going to buy a nice heatsink, and it ain't going to be no cooler. If you want us to buy liquid cooling, prepare to drop $800 or more on your own custom do-it-yourself tubing, because this case, yes, minus it trying to eat my board and minus the stupid shit that's there and a waste of space, it's just all up here, just like a complete waste of space, and all down here. It's okay case, but still it's a no-go. The radiator is supposed to be mounted on top of this here, on top of the case, sorry, and your fans should be underneath, which, by the way, would have been more than enough clearance to actually hook up your EPS/ATX 12 volt, your CPU fan hitters, and whatever you may have on top of the board, right? So it's garbage. Everything in this thing was nothing but a frustration and this is it done yet, right? Now that it's in the case and up and going, it did manage to survive the so-called horrible experience I had putting this together. And I thought about it really strongly about Corsair's products. I will, only thing that I'll ever buy, I said nothing, but it would be just RAM, memory, that would be it. And every other thing that they have to offer, from cases to power supply units to coolers, whatever it may be, fans, I will never read a product review on anything to do with Corsair again, period. I'm really sorry, guys. I know they're great for memory and RAM, but that's just the way it is to me. You know, there's a point in time where you're just so sick of dealing with this crap, and it's just too stressful. Like, if you guys only knew what I did up to this point, I don't think you guys would have even did it or even continued on. Like I said, there was nothing in this room. I had to do this full room over, not to mention the other carpentry work I had to do outside around this house, and plus this year, and plus reading a book, plus I didn't know nothing about it and have to drop my upgrading, repairing PCs 21st edition with 35% through the book, and then start studying household supplies and crunching numbers. The numbers was just unbelievable, not to mention that I had to even drop more money in tools, and then, you know, I was no time, and I had to come in, then I had to catch up with everything else, and, you know, what was been left here for almost 2 or 3 months, you know, lots of data to be transferred and everything up to date. Everything was just falling out of place. It was havoc, right? You couldn't keep up to speed, and then have to come build this computer and deal what I dealt with that Corsair's liquid cooler, all-in-one cooler, and it's a mess. I don't like the way the wiring is hooked up to it. It's like it shouldn't be on the pump. The tubing should be dead center of the block. It shouldn't be on the side. There's nothing to like about this at all. And you want to know what? If they made it where they are today, delivering such products to customers like this, it blows me to see what the future is going to hold with such products from them. But don't get me wrong, the RAM excellent, and it'll be a final judgment. We'll see what it's like when I overclock it with Extreme Memory Profiles 1.3. Power supply unit, well, like I said, if PC power and cooling wouldn't have been tossed around like a, you know, the Escort, it would have been all right to rely on them. But I can guarantee you, if this power supply don't hold out for 4 years plus, I'll never look at I'm not buying no more power. So it'll be back to PC power and cooling. I regret that. And this mumble jumble with all this software and all this crap, you know what, it's nice to have it change, but not when you're going to have to be maintaining it and always updating it constantly, and you have to deal with the other products, well, other software too, right, depending on how much you have. I have anywhere between 60 to 90 applications installed at a time, so just to give you an idea. But moral of the story is that it's alive, and I forgot when I first turned it on, I forgot to put in, well, when you got half a dozen of wires hanging from one cooler, that makes it look like you're building a computer from 1998. You wouldn't have forgot about it. I forgot to put the SATA pump back hooked up, SATA power, sorry, for the pump, and then I got an error on the screen, CPU error 1. I was like, yeah, great, forgot the pump, had to shut it down right away because it was heating up, right? The case, if it wasn't from that standoff, this case would have been excellent, but I can't blame mainly the case. What it boils down to is that this cooler is a mockery to begin with, and this case is made for the real extreme power users like myself, which I'll be going with. When I take this cooler off, it's going in the garbage, and I'll be buying myself do-it-yourself all-in-one, not all-in-one, do-it-yourself liquid cooling setup, and the radiator mounts are up there for, I think, a 360 millimeter radiator. I'll just buy that, my blocks for the GPU processor and my own pump and so forth, and not have to deal with this crap anymore. It's good for people, for novices and that, but I'm far from being a novice, This caused me tremendously havoc. I had to cut off the part of the fan just to get it in, and Asus is kind of on the shit list now too, with that port being the way it is, and I am not happy with it, like the layout of the board. So that's about it, right? I don't know. I can't talk no more about it because I'm just it wasn't really a good build at all. I wasn't, like I said, I wanted it to be over the second day. I was tremendously stressed out of all of it. Like, you have no idea. You have no idea. And I still will build computers. I'm not going to give it up. It's just, that was just a bad time for me to put a computer together, put it that way. I should have held off, you know, a month or so more. And I don't think I'll be bothering with this for a while. I think I'm just gonna double check everything, you know, and put it on, and when the time comes for me to clean it, I may decide to buy a custom do-it-yourself all-in-one cooler. So here it is all close up. That's the airflow from Corsair. Again, that's more of a gimmick. Looks nice and all, but again, I'm not buying no more products from Corsair. You can see the smudges on my graphics card. Well, it left behind from my hands, my fingerprints, for some particular reason. Not that I care, because this case ain't being showed off. The door was put on, it's getting slided in. This is my gaming machine, workstation, whatever you want to call it, etc. It's not to show off, and you show it off to anybody that I ever come into contact in the last 8 years. They're just basically clueless and have a fucking clue about nothing. So yeah, feel free to leave the comments below, talk about something, because apparently I don't get to talk to anybody about any fucking cool gear like this. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this, and that's it. And this is what it looks like from front down before I go. Don't about that, sliding down. Like I said, the case is great. I can't blame the case. It was mainly that standoff, and they shouldn't have had it there, period. If they wouldn't have had it there, it would have been alright. You know, it's so stressful. Like, it's so stressful. And what it boiled down to is that it was that cooler. It was the cooler. I put the cooler in first, and then bang, that's when it all began to turn to shit. Every bit of it, man. Every bit of it. So the case is beautiful, but honestly, it ain't worth $400 some odd dollars. The case is worth no more than $200, $230, $240, and you know what you're shipping, and that'll be like, you know, probably just shy of $300. But not what I paid for it at all. I regret it, but don't worry, I'll get my money's worth out of it, because I ain't buying no more computer cases. This is the last one for a good decade, and it might be even good 13 or 14 years, so I even bother putting in anything. Because every rack has SSD support, vice versa, whatever, you get the idea, right? And the fans of what it is, we're not getting no more bigger fans than 120 mil. Well, 200, nobody wants a 200 mil. In their case, when you got to buy it from Pacific companies, aka Cooler Master, right? I can't shit on them a whole lot, but that took it from me. But like I said, it was the cooler. It was Corsair's fault, and like I said, I'm done. It'll be only the memory, and I'll never ever read anything or buy anything more from Corsair at all, period. So this time I'm definitely out, and I hope you guys can pick up something from this. And if you want to comment, by all means go ahead, feel free to do so, and don't be shy to just say you're a fucking douchebag if you want to be, right? But no, man, I'm telling you, if you did what I did up to this point and did that there, you would feel the same way. So this is it. I'm out. There's my boy. Eat my mayo. Eat my style. Eat my poopio. He's always in the room with me. He's my cat. And he sleeps right there. Well, there's a case door there now, but that's where he sleeps. So, yeah, this is it, boys. See ya.